Welcome back. So as we get ready for tonight's games, just a little quick little news of the day video before the games get started, and then the crunching reality of trying to follow everything hits. So tonight there's going to be some debuts. This is that exciting time of year where for a team that's outside of a playoff spot, usually the teams outside the playoffs are the ones that are bringing in young guys, see what they're going to be able to do for them. Sometimes it's a contender too, right? Cale Makar joined the Avalanche late in their season when he debuted. So Matty Beniers will debut for Seattle, so they'll get a good look at what he's able to do. We'll likely see him in a top six role. And so that's going to be exciting for Seattle fans, right? Also, Arizona fans, reason for some excitement here that both Nathan Smith and Jack McBain will debut tonight. It is not the same Nathan Smith that was once employed by the Vancouver Canucks. It'll be fun to see how those players do tonight on a very crowded night. But the Arizona game is on at the same time as not a whole lot else, so I'll probably be able to get a good look at how McBain and Smith fit in and what kind of ice time they get, if they get special teams time, all that other fun stuff. If you're an LA Kings fan, you're looking for good news, right? Well, the good news is Dustin Brown has been activated off the IR. So that should help, although obviously without Walker, Mikey Anderson, and Doughty on the blue line, that's the primary concern right now for the LA Kings. There are reasons that they've been struggling lately, and injuries being a big part of it. So Brown being back will help the forward group. We'll see if the defense is able to hold things together as well. But it'll help them having Brown back. So news reported today too, also involving the Seattle Kraken. A game that was to be played tomorrow between they and the Winnipeg Jets has been postponed due to the fact that there is a once-in-a-century type snowstorm coming into Winnipeg that's supposed to drop about 80 centimeters of snow is what's being reported, which, if you're American, is about 2.5, almost 3 feet. So they wouldn't be able to get out if they were able to get in, and I don't think they're going to be able to get in. So that game's been postponed till Sunday, May 1st. So what that means is the season no longer ends on April 29th. That was the drop-dead end date. The other interesting part is this. It is very unlikely that Winnipeg ends up being in a playoff spot. But there is the possibility, however small, that game on May 1st could decide whether or not Winnipeg would get in, meaning that April 29th, maybe we won't have complete and total certainty. And so I would do a power rankings on Saturday before that game, and then not do a power rankings the following week because we'd be in the playoffs, and it would be unfair to both Winnipeg and Seattle, but that's just how things go. Changing the power rankings for one game and doing that the following week wouldn't be very good. So that snowstorm has pushed that game back and pushed back the end of the season, and hopefully that's the end of anything being postponed for the rest of the year, right? For Pittsburgh, news for them, Nathan Beaulieu, who they acquired from Winnipeg. Pretty sure he hasn't played a game for Pittsburgh yet because he's been injured, lower body injury, but he's resumed skating. The expectation the whole time has been that he's out for the regular season. He should be back for the playoffs. So Beaulieu is a third-pairing defenseman, and obviously in the playoffs you need as much depth as you can get. Up front, blue line, goaltending, you name it. All of your depth will be tested. Beaulieu, we'll see whether he's back in time for round one or when he's back. But him being back on his skates and practicing that way, that's good news for Pittsburgh fans. Interesting question being asked as well on Sportsnet. I'm going to throw my 2 cents into this. The idea of should it be Koskinen or Smith for the playoffs? My answer is the meme of why not both? I really think that with Edmonton and a few other teams going into the playoffs, it's going to be goaltending by committee. So for game one, you might have Koskinen. And then for game two, it could be Smith. Maybe you have one goaltender for home games and one goaltender for road games. We'll see how that all turns out. But I think with Edmonton, it's going to be riding the hot hand going into the playoffs. But then they're going to have to be, open to the idea that Smith has the experience, but both goaltenders are veterans, and you have to show that you have faith in them. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Edmonton's goaltending. They're not the only team in this situation, but with how compact these playoffs could very well end up being. Remember, they start May 2nd, and they want them done before the end of June. So that's a pretty quick playoffs there, considering normally they're from the second week of April until mid-June. So that's a pretty compact schedule. we're going to see teams having to use both goaltenders, I think, a lot. I think that while there's goaltenders out there like Vasilevsky, who's not, I don't think, entirely human. I'm not saying that he's some kind of a robot-human hybrid, but I'm not saying he's not. But he doesn't seem to tire out. Doesn't seem to matter how many games he plays. But not all goaltenders are built that way. So we might see more of a tandem in net, which didn't used to be a big deal. But I'm old enough to remember when you could see a backup in a game in the playoffs and people didn't freak out. Somewhere along the way, goaltenders started playing every single game. Patrick Roy. That was the first time that I can remember really seeing a goaltender just every single game. You're not going to play your backup very much. Although I think Hayward played as well during parts of... Anyway, getting sidetracked. We'll see what Edmonton ends up doing with their goaltending, but I do think we're going to see a return of teams not being so scared to play their backup in playoff situations, depending on, are you leading in the series? Do you have full faith in your backup? All this other fun stuff. And so, yeah, we'll see what they do. Toronto. And so we're seeing a lot of guys getting signed right now. A lot of NCAA players being signed now that the NCAA season's over. Congratulations to Denver on the victory in the Frozen Four. But Toronto's trying to get Knies signed. So there was some discussions about whether or not Knies, and to me it looks like Knies. Like, it looks to me like the K should be silent, but no, Knies. He is a player that was coveted, apparently, on the trade market. Toronto not willing to move him. And so now they're trying to get him signed. Dubas is meeting with him on Wednesday. Toronto, well aware, you need depth in the playoffs. You need as much depth as possible. And bringing in another kid could definitely help out. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.